Hello, fellow travelers. I'm Veronica from Human Design Journey. And today I'm going to look at the chart of Mr. Vladimir Putin. Maybe a little controversial. And I didn't really want to give you energy till now to that. But there is a but. It's time that I look myself at this chart, at this body graph, and deeper. And why not share it with you? So here it goes. We have manifesting manifester, manifesting manifester. I wanted to say a spleen defined manifester, intuitive manifester. So it is a person who is a manifestor because there is a motor, pressure, fuel. Actually, it's fuel for transformation. And penetrating awareness, which reaches the throat. So it's an interesting combination. Actually, these are projector channels. And there can be bitterness in them as well, and melancholy. So we have manifestor who is here to impact and to watch who they impact, to get to know who they are and what their life purpose is. This particular manifestor is a heretic investigator of endeavor. So this is a manifestor who's willing to work for what they want and are very ambitious. This is the channel of ambition as well. So it's, we could say, a person who is quite cold in their demeanor. There is absolutely nothing which gives them warm energy, like generator warm energy or the juicy emotional energy. This is a being with a very, very defined spleen, splenic manifestor, cold-blooded splenic manifestor, almost close to animal awareness, super connected to the basic natural fears, the well-being, the immune system, the intuition, the instinct. It's about survival here. So this is a human being purely focused on survival in the now, penetrating awareness in the now, how to be well, and to word it out, even awareness, in an ambitious way. Being driven, a design of being driven, the channel of transformation. So, and this is somebody who is very unpredictable because they follow their intuitive knowing, their intuition of how to get the exact moment in which to actually act. And they're hardly stoppable. And they for sure will meet a lot of resistance, hence they don't inform. So while they inform and they're polite and nice, then everything is fine, because the other is like, oh, dear manifester, being so predictable and so, okay, not predictable, but so polite and so nice to me, and you're informing me, so I don't have to worry that I can expect something from you which is unexpected. Hence the manifestor is here to enter in new territories, to do things that have not been done until now, to be the spark, the one who ignites, starts the flame, puts on fire others. And this is a cold-blooded fire starter. So we have here the channel of the brainwave, a design of penetrating awareness, which links the spleen center through the 57, the gate of the intuitive clarity, to the 20, the gate of the now in the throat center. And this is the voice of intuition, one of the most extraordinary capacities humans have. Via this channel is pure intuition that can actually speak. Although the spleen is in charge of health and well-being, it's not an energy center. So while this channel can be very aware of what is necessary for health and well-being, it's not necessarily able to actually do anything about it. And we have here the fuel. It's a manifester. So yes, they can do something about it. Their very focus becomes to share intelligence in the now. And these are people who will know in the now what is healthy for them. If they ignore that, the moment can pass and they will suffer from it, or if they don't listen to their instincts in the moment. And we have here the stream of intuition, 57, 20, 28. We have 3 of the gates of the stream of intuition. And then we have as well 3 of the gates of the stream of the instinct, 54, 32, 44. So this is a very instinctive, intuitive being. At the same time, very prone to smell, and very prone to sound, and also taste. This is a being which can be quite judgmental as well, and correcting you all the time. This is where his discipline and limitation is. And find the depth, taste for action, the 5th line, the well, the gate of depth. And this is where his personality, expression, and life force is. His sun, personality sun. 5th line. So if we look at this person, basically the best advice you could give them is that they listen to their instincts in the moment and react moment by moment, and be very careful not to get influenced by their thoughts, thinking too much, or not to have this intuition silenced by big emotional stress or emotional energy, and completely open sacral, not knowing when enough is enough, even inadequate about when to stop. So hence, this person listens to their intuition. They know what's best for them in the now. And if they inform of what they're going to do and make sure they want to get the impact to those people who are going to get it, if that's the impact they want, then they should move quite quickly. So if we split here the ego, because we have here a tribal channel, into two, the political flavor will be communism on this side and capitalism on this side. So you can see that the stream of instinct is capitalism. So deep down, actually, Vladimir Putin is absolutely a capitalist person. And 5432, it's all about ambition. And the 4426 is all about selling. So he's trying to sell his ambition, open ego, not knowing the right price and how to do it, making apparently mistakes on the way. But it's all about making money for the tribe we're talking about. So it is both physical but also spiritual. On the other side, we have no activation in the 3740, the channel of community, creating and nurturing the community. So it's here, it's not so much about money, but about creating the social framework of the tribe. So he does have this in the 49th gate, which he has twice. His nodes, his north node. So it will be valid now, actually, this time of his life after 50. We talk about it a little bit later, but here we have the theme of the ego circuit, which is to manifest, to go out there and be busy so that you can come home and rest. But because there is no sacral, the two streams that go from the root all the way to the ego are projected streams. And the ego circuit is desperate to be recognized. It is waiting to be recognized in order that it can be in control of the manifestation at the end. So we have here the channel of transformation, the channel of ambition, linking the root center through the 54th gate, the gate of the marrying maiden, to the 32nd gate in the spleen, the gate of duration. The thrust of this channel is pretty simple. It is ambitious, fueled by the desire to make money and to do better, basically. The desire to get ahead. And it's a transformation in the material world. That's why it's the marrying maiden. Ambition alone isn't enough to get material success. The spleen provides the instinct to recognize in the now what ambition needs to focus on and what to do in the now to stay safe and be healthy. But at the same time, we have the 32nd gate, which fears failure. And it is precisely that fear which instinctively watches all change. What this instinct is alert to is the level of support that is available from others for any change. We have support here as the tribal energy, the stickiness of the tribe. Keyword, support. So this channel knows that only a transformation that endures over time has value. Although the 50th is not defined, but its values. In order for the change to endure, it must have the support of the tribe. Even in the international arena, lining up allies, gaining support of others is crucial for a nation to realize its goals. Like all of the ego circuit channels that are below the ego, the 3254 is a projected channel that needs to be recognized and invited. And if not, then there is bitterness and there is invisibility. The transformation is not a matter of initiating something. It's not just a manifester operation, although we have a manifester here. It is rather something that needs to be recognized and supported by the tribe, provided, of course, that this is a leader of the tribe. So talking about a person who is in the position of being president of a country is practically the head of a tribe. So it is very important for this person to have tribal support for what he's doing. And what we hear, actually, a lot of people support his actions back in Russia. Although that support now diminishes with time. After all, nobody likes wars. And for sure, the times are so different and so much energy for breaking through the collective and breaking through the tribe and getting into the individual energy. Let's not take out of sight the bigger picture here, because the times are changing. We have, this is the just now chart, but we're approaching the 2027, and the cross of planning will end, giving way to the new cross of the sleeping phoenix. But right now we have Pluto in gate 60, line 1, the gate of limitation. The acceptance of limitation is the first step in transcendence. Pluto in first line acceptance, and Earth right now is in the rigidity 6th line. So there will be all the time while the 60th gate is in, there will be ways to limit us. And what is going on right now in Russia and the war in Ukraine, this person is just a tool of the program, bringing us limitation in resources, limitation in security, limitation in energy, and in limitation in well-being, if you wish, all kinds of limitations. Also the virus which appeared, also bringing us limitations. And this will continue until basically 2024. It will go. Right now it's retrograde. But it will keep coming in and out, and we're going to be dealing with this theme. And also we have the 36th gate in Pluto, and Pluto is illusion and spirituality as well, transcendence, but it's also something like an energy with a veil in front of it. It's unclear. We don't know exactly what's happening. And it is in the gate of the darkening of the light, the gate of crisis. And it has been here for quite some time, and here to stay also for quite some time. So we can expect limitation and crisis. And now, even because of the moon in the 35th gate, the gate of progress, the gate of change in the transit, we may have the whole channel of transitoriness, jack of all trades. So it can be quite emotional times. Of course, wanting to share those emotions in the moment. So if you think about this person being in this environment, and according to me, he's one of the, as I said, one of the agents of the program, which is basically bringing this limitation here, which is actually the format for mutation, for change, for the coming cycle. And Pluto, it's the truth. So it's about transformation and psychology, and it's all of that is connected to limitation and transcendence of limitation, finding your ways around the limitation. Not only being limited, but being able to live with this limitation, being able to live with this virus, being able to survive, even though there is no bread, or there is no electricity, no gas, and prices are rocketing sky high, and you're going to beans or whatever, or you grow a garden. You find a way to transcend the limitation, accepting the limitation. So we have here pure manifesting energy. It's not pure, actually. It would be this way. Those three channels will be pure manifesting energy. So this is root spleen, cold manifester energy, with all the fears, except for one, activated. In this chart. So it's the fear of tomorrow, the fear of the past, the fear of failure, the fear of inadequacy, the fear of authorities, the fear that it makes no sense, might have no purpose, fear of death, basically, fear of authority. We only don't have fear of responsibility, but fear of inadequacy, fear of tomorrow, past, failure, death, and authority, especially failure, will be a big one, as we have almost the whole stream of instinct. But we have one theme which will be a big one, and it is not knowing when enough is enough, not knowing when to stop, not knowing truly being inadequate about how to use the life force and correctly, and how to basically be knowing when to stop, knowing when to be without additional energy for doing, knowing when to stop doing. And also very important will be here that this person knows when he's crossing the boundaries, and knows when not really having a power struggle and power, getting drunk on power. Because when you have an open sacral, and for sure, this is a person who can get addicted to the juicy generator life energy. So if you don't have it consistently in you, starting things, not knowing when to finish, how to finish, especially, lacking this energy to empower your view, and specifically the law and protection of this person, which is in the gate of the receptive, the gate of direction of the self, in the second line, genius, unconscious and unlearnable alignment of stimulus and response, the natural, the inner strength to focus and realize, a natural gift for unlearnable knowing, genius as madness, knowledge exclusively as power for the enhancement of the ego, the delusion that the knowledge is power. So especially we have it in an open center, so this will be double trouble. And because this is missing to empower his vision, that's what you're after. You're after energy, you're after power, you're after being in position of thrust, being in position of force. And this can become something you truly are fascinated about, madness about being powerful, and totally inadequate of when to stop, when to put boundaries. This can be a person who can be completely infatuated with power and with forcing his ambition and his instinctive knowing for what is best for him to the others. Looking for love and direction, not knowing who to be, trying to identify themselves with what they do, with being a leader, a powerful leader of a country. So this is a person who will definitely be trying to identify themselves, holding on to certain traits, certain clothes, certain behaviors, which they think will correspond to their statute in society. So we can see that this is a person who dresses quite simple and modest, not screaming with their statute, but being totally infatuated with real power and not knowing well when to will things, but having the 21st gate, biting through the gate of the hunter-huntress, and that his grounding and balance, it's in the fifth line, objectivity. The use of force must be based on impartiality and not emotionally motivated. A principled and legal character that ensures objectivity. The balanced ego whose willpower is applied objectively. The drive for elimination is so powerful that objectivity is related purely to cause and not effect. The ego whose willpower is applied subjectively. And this can be completely he can completely lose boundaries on that and inflate this ego, because we have an open center which exaggerates. So it's a real hunter who doesn't want to have a boss, wanting to get the justified and necessary use of power in overcoming deliberate and persistent interference, wanting to be in control and totally not tolerating when they're not in control. And we have also an open solar plex center, the emotional, the nervous system, moods, feelings, emotions, desires, passions, romance, sex drive, and food are things which in the not self will be avoiding truth and confrontation and avoiding bad feelings, avoiding emotionality. So again, cold-blooded spleen person who is intuitive, acting in now. And on the other hand, when they get angry, because that's the not self theme of the manifestor, to be really, really angry, you could see on his poker face that he's angry. But when, for instance, now as we have the transit, which defines his emotional center, there is a real risk here. Risk of actually those emotions exploding. And we can see that This is his north node. We have it on the personality side in the second line, the last resort, and in the fourth line platform, the design side. So let's look at that. So the direction and environment in which everything is happening around Putin, and in the second part of his life in which he is in the gate of revolution, the gate of principles, fourth line platform. So it is a very rigid environment waiting for opportunities, a political and social agenda embodied in guarantees to human rights that ensures a just and valid replacement of the old order, a potential sensitivity to the needs of society, promises, 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 and only to guarantee support with little possibility of implementation, a potential to insensitively take advantage of the needs of society. So this is environment in which things are happening for Putin in the second part of his life. And his perspective is the 49 gate in the second line revolution, the last resort, the determination to exhaust every possible peaceful avenue for change. And then when satisfied that no other course is possible, to plan in detail before a revolution is attempted. Oh my God, this says that this guy has been planning that for a long time. The potential to explore every possibility before rejecting. So before this guy rejects that war, he will explore every possibility. And the detriment, the overwhelming revolutionary urge that is impatient with accommodation and negotiation. The tendency here is the coup d'etat that the little general support, impatience with accommodation. So the tendency for coup d'etat that has little general support. That's also a possibility. And this is exactly what is happening, actually. He has little support, but impatience with accommodating and starting the revolution. That's his view, perspective. That's what he sees. The direction and environment. And then we have the first part of his life, youthful folly, the gate of formalization, in second line, acceptance, the recognition of limitation in oneself and others leads to tolerance and the suspension of judgment. The glorification of feelings, the mother which always pardons the errant child, the potential to recognize that not everyone can understand, the assertion of the ego at the expense of others as failures, the potential to take advantage of the lack of understanding in others. His perspective, the first part of his life, and the direction and environment in the fourth line, the liar, role-playing as an art form, the actor. Fantasy protects and nurtures a sense of purpose and reason, no matter how misguided. The potential to find or illustrate the formulas through fantasy. Time always brings humiliation. The potential danger to see the fantasy as fact. And we know that he really, apparently in his youth, saw his fantasies as facts. He thinks that he's the reborn Peter Great, or maybe not reborn in the physical sense, but reborn in the ideological sense, reborn in restoring great Russia sense. So we're role-playing here to an art form of those, and it's an answer to those desires for inspiration. And we have the energy of the gate of depth, action where this person thinks that they don't have enough talent, although they have the depth and the knowledge, but somehow there is this complex that there is not enough talent to accomplish the action, the natural urge to apply energy to action, a taste for action, an over-reliance on the need for protection that in times of social renewal is obsessed with the details of planning at the expense of action, insecurity with one's depth that can fail to take action. So maybe he failed to take action all these years, preparing himself, planning the details, and not taking action, and playing, being the actor, and confusing the enemy. So all the time as a manifestor, everybody feels that he's ready to take action. He's ready to do those threats that he's making. And he's ready to dive into new territories and try new things, although it's connected to the past and to Peter the Great, Knyaz, Pyotr I in Russian. So everybody was feeling all those 20 years since he's in power that those are his real intentions, but nobody actually believed it. He was an actor, he was playing, waiting for the opportunity to come so that this heresy can be accomplished. And the use of force must be based on impartiality and not emotionally motivated. This is where he grounds this energy. But let's look on the other side. We have the personality sun in detail, but the design sun is in the gate of development, the gate of beginnings, in line 1, accumulation. Development hampered by criticism and the tendency to withdraw rather than make use of these experiences. The difficulty in starting something new because of the criticism that accompanied the old. So maybe also it took him so much time to start this thing that he has been planning for so long, is exactly because he was overcritical to himself, as the 18th gate, criticism, correction, the gate of correction, work on what has been spoiled. So it explains a lot. Oh man. And it's Saturn in the 6th line, Buddhahood. So Saturn is where we get our discipline and limitation, work on what has been spoiled, the gate of correction, 5th line, Buddhahood, the perfected form, the Buddha state of the eternal child and the energy to find new horizons, to avoid stasis, the potential of the perfected form through correction, the mundane application of the above, the ability to tap to public opinion and share methodology, the potential to share the values of the correction with others. And oh boy, he does share his correction with others. And on the other side, we have the 57th gate, the gentle, the gate of intuitive clarity, 3rd line, acuteness, the perfected intelligence where clarity eliminates doubt and ensures manifestation, the possibility of protected intuition. And this is where he is punished in his and limited when he does not follow his personal law. So he can start things but hardly finish them, being overcritical to things, not knowing when enough waiting is enough before starting, and always feeling that you want to start something new. Look, we have the 53rd gate 3 times. The sun in 1st line, accumulation, in Venus 5th line, assertion, and Uranus 4th line, assuredness. So, and Uranus is the law. And protection. Sorry, we have yeah, Uranus fourth line. No, but I meant Jupiter. Anyways, so starting things, not knowing when to finish, when to put a stop on it, when enough is enough, being over ambitious, grounding and balancing in the marrying maiden, the gate of the drive, first line influence, the ability to achieve influence through secret relationships, anywhere from the private advisor to the Satanist, ambition energized through secret relationships which fuel influence, a socially misguided insistence on formal recognition of a relationship that in terms of influence will diminish its power, ambition which demands formal recognition, limiting influence. Oh my God. So these guys have been definitely working on some secret alliances, and we could see that. A few days ago, he went on to open up about Iran connection. We have North Korea connection, China. So he's definitely looking for support in his tribal actually at the end it is a network, I think. First line and third line, first line. No, it's not a network, but it is tribal support. And this is what he's grounded in. But it's socially misguided insistence on formal recognition of a relationship. So he for sure has some tight deals with those people, because here we talk about tribe and pure capitalism. So there will be deals with which all those people advance together and sell to the tribe what it wants. Him basically showing himself as the fighter for Christianity and the last crusades against and it's so interesting because he sees more common now with the values of Christianity, with the values of Islam, about not drinking, about marriage, about being LGBTQ plus community part of it and total unacceptance of it, and against all those westernized new age whatever open values and human rights. All of this is in the old. We can see that we have 4 times left here: strategic mind, strategic perspectives, strategic body, everything strategic with this person. He lives in the past, and the future is the rightness. The raves will be 4 times right, but we're still living in a strategic world, and this is how the old order was, the order of planning, being strategic and being able to use the resources of nature for your own benefit and strategically plan your next move so you can get out of the jungle, strategically make your own fort, then it became a fortress, then bigger and bigger cities, and so on and so on. So till before 400 years, everything was about survival on the physical, on the material plane. Still is for a big part of people out there in the world. And this is what Vladimir Putin is using. He's using his strategic mind, trying to get what he thinks he deserves, and that is freedom, and that is peace, to rule as a great Peter the Great and the first Knyaz, and Russia to be great, big again, so he can, as a general, nicely retreat and be this authoritarian behind, and freedom to king, to freedom to be a hunter, to fulfill this urge in him to hunt, and a person with a completely open ajna, not completely open, he has the 4th and the 11th gate, of course, but not knowing, trying to be certain, trying to convince everybody that he's right, not knowing what to think of, overwhelmed with thinking and looking for this inner truth in the past, trying to bring the past into the future, and waiting for a retreat. That's what he communicates, and that's why the world didn't exactly expect what he did. But indeed, his communication, Mercury, is in the gate of retreat, the gate of privacy, in 4th line, dignity, a lack of turmoil to retreat, the underlying faith in resurrection that turns retreat into an opportunity for renewal and regeneration, the healthy retreat for regeneration. Without the guiding light of resurrection, the inevitable dissolution that leads to degeneration, forced to retreat and unable to see its regenerative qualities. Well, he has a bunker in which he goes to retreat. So apparently he does retreat. And he has the other Mercury. What he wants to communicate also is to be left alone, but also here we have duration, the gate of continuity. 3rd line, lack of continuity. Indecision and persistent reevaluation that only because of its basic intelligence manages to endure. Indecision in times of transformation. And we are in times of transformation. So I wonder what indecisiveness he wants to communicate to us. Maybe his indecisiveness, whether he's going to continue with other neighboring to Ukraine countries like Romania, Bulgaria, Litva, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, Sweden, and basically his communication is indeed can be confusing, actually, although he claims he's very persistent in what he says. So the grounding and balance in the gate of the drive, we already looked at. We looked at the notes. So we have the driving force, the moon, inner truth, the gate of mystery in his open head. So the enlightened father figure whose recognized wisdom and powerful assertion can mold a generation by its influence. The pressure to know that marries out in influence and wisdom. A tendency in power to wait to enforce compliance to ensure lasting influence. The pressure in knowing to resent challenges and demand acceptance. And since it is in an open had an ajna, and that's his driving force, he can exaggerate this tremendously. This tendency in power to want to enforce compliance. He wants to enforce it. And the other moon, the other driving force in 20th gate, contemplation, the gate of direction of the now. Third line, self-awareness, understanding derived from analysis of personal actions and effects. The proper attunement and development of the personality through self-consciousness, the expression of self-conscious awareness in the now. Self-consciousness in the extreme that hampers development, the expression of self-consciousness in the extreme, his driving force, to try to express himself really to the extreme. Then we have the values and relating again in the 53rd gate on the design side. And we have it also in the 4th line here. So 3 times starting new things, assertion, the underlying and often psychic recognition of the intrinsic values of development, even in periods of isolation, has the assertiveness to maintain direction. So even if Russia is super isolated, this guy will keep on maintaining the direction. Its very power gamers continued support, even from those who are basically opposed. The pressure to recognize the value of development and the energy for beginnings, regardless of circumstances. An over-assertiveness that rather than apply to maintaining support in the face of opposition and isolation, may actually strengthen the opposing forces by its attitude, where the energy for beginnings attracts the very forces that can abort them. So only with starting, and those are his values, he already can attract the opposite forces. And when his values and his law and protection are not met, here we have it in the 2nd line, genius, unconscious, and unlearnable alignment of stimulus and response, the natural. The inner strength to focus and realize, a natural gift for unlearnable knowing, genius is madness. And the other one, the 23rd gate, splitting apart, the gate of assimilation, 1st line, proselytization, the attempt to undermine one set of values for another. The sage, and he does that actually, changing his value system, the sage who in the extreme can defend evil as part of the greater good, the powerful expression of an insight which will undermine established values, excuse me. So powerful expression of instinct, of insight, which will undermine established values. And when those values and law and protection are not met, he's being punished in his intuition and the perfected form, Buddhahood, the work on what has been spoiled. So we have also this Martian energy, very dynamic energy, where he can be very explosive and immature. And it's in the gate of peace, the gate of ideas, a harmonic condition individual or society that permits assessment before renewed action. It's in the 5th line, philanthropist. So we have the motiveless nurturing of the disenfranchised to ensured harmony, philosophical and humanitarian ideas, the withdrawing from direct contact where giving is a form of defense, giving away ideas out of a sense of insecurity. So this is where he has to grow and mature. And on the other side, we have the preponderance of the gate of the game player. He has the gate of the game player in 5th line, treachery. The abuse of trust, the manipulation of the collective that while pitting one faction against the other, does not directly support or reject either. the intuitive capacity of the game player to provoke struggle amongst others, the breaking of alliances with trusted forces to align with more powerful forces and its attendant destabilization of the whole, the intuitive recognition in times of struggle to know when alliances must be broken and its destabilizing effect on others. And at the same time, he can be making those alliances, as we saw in the 54th gate, making ambition energized through secret relationships which fuel influence. So we have, yeah, destabilizing effect of others, the abuse of trust. This is also where he has to develop his energy and can be quite explosive. It's in a defined center, so it's a consistent activated gate. And the unusualness of this person is connected to the 39th gate, 6th line, the troubleshooter, the natural gift for solving problems, and provoking the right spirit, looking for the right spirit. Basically, this is the natural gift for solving problems, practicality and the ability to guide and nurture others, the energy to provoke others by attempting to solve their problems. Yeah, he has a military operation trying to solve the Donbass problems they have with nationalists. That's how he justifies it. Ego dominance that generally abuses this gift for self-aggrandizement and personal ambition rather than for the benefit of others. The emotional drive to dominate that provokes others. All this energy to provoke others, self-aggrandizement, with trying to be very powerful, to hold the power. And the other unusualness, chaos and innovation in the gate of development, the gate of beginning, and this time in 4th line, assuredness, the persistent difficulty with embarrassing or awkward situations where normal emotional reactions may prove detrimental, individual pressure for beginnings that create awkward and sometimes embarrassing situations. And we have definitely seen Putin in such situations. Actually, the last one was with the meeting of the pre-Baltic countries, where he was the only leader of a country not met with salt and bread. And it was an awkward situation. He had to go by himself all the way from the airplane to his car, where he was met by his security team. That's the only people which were waiting for him. It was really an awkward situation. So even in the Islamic world, he was not that welcomed until Iran showed up. So he's maybe in the right alliances right now, or not. And we have Neptune, the illusion and spirituality and transcendence in the gate of gentle, the gentle of intuitive clarity in 5th line progression, tendency to keep on keeping on, that can end up as a misguided missile. Oh my God, let's hope it's not the one we're all hoping he will not use. When in action, the intuition may become overwhelmed and unable to assess and evaluate its progress. This is happening behind an illusion, behind a veil, and oh my God, oh boy, if he's overwhelmed, he might by accident be a misguided missile. And we don't want a nuclear missile, guys, for sure not. But it's quite a possibility if you ask me. Then if we look at the other Neptune, the personality is in the gate of duration, the gate of continuity, in the line of conservation, a life-sustaining respect and attention to all aspects of progress. Okay. Aspects of a process, sorry. The potential to develop the instinct through detailed attention to a process, and detriment, the uncontrollable urge to bypass essentials, which inevitably leads to the disruption of continuity, the fear of lack of potential, and the corresponding lack of attention. Yeah, if that person, he has an illusion about his urge to bypass the essentials, which can lead to disruption of continuity, that's a dilemma which, unless he feels the fear of lack of potential and the corresponding lack of attention to pull the trigger, but that's something we don't know. It's veiled with him. He also doesn't know it. So how his intuition happens and how the lack of continuity happens is veiled. And Pluto, we already looked at the fourth gate, but not in depth. So youthful folly, the gate of formalization in his chart is in fifth line, seduction, and in the second line, acceptance. The recognition of limitation in oneself and others leads to tolerance and the suspension of judgment. The glorification of feelings, the mother which always pardons the errant child, the potential to recognize that not everyone can understand, the assertion of the ego at the expense of others' failures, the potential to take advantage of the lack of understanding in others. So the mother, and we had also the father, and seduction, allowing others to assure responsibility as a shield against potential punishment, a life of lip service to antiquated and unsatisfying values. Antiquated, indeed, from the deep past, antiques, cynicism, the potential for cynicism that comes with always having to acknowledge the understanding of others. And he's really a cynical person. We can see it. With which he seducts with his truth, allowing others to assure responsibility as a shield against potential punishment. So if you take responsibility, then you will not be punished. And that's the people he has been collecting by his side, who will not challenge his truth and follow his leadership, because as a 5-1, he is an authoritative leader, heretical leader who wants to be very powerful, willing to work for it, cross of endeavor, being very ambitious and intuitive about how to get to progress, to outguess what is best for his tribe, how to play the player's game, what to correct, what patterns to improve, detail and depth, knowing in the now, and with progression and acuteness to self-awareness, retreating when needed, getting into his bunker, amorality, and the awareness and understanding which leads to the acceptance of diversity. In first line, proselytization. So he's open, but to attempt to undermine one set of values for another. So the sage who is in the extreme can defend evil as a part of the greater good. And that's what we really see. So That's what he brings into action, and the voices we can hear with him, that indeed he's repeating that basically the aim justifies the means. And it is a big challenge, I would say, for our own moral values, because we do have them, although human design doesn't work with moral, and there is no good and bad, because every good can be bad and every bad can be good in the wrong situation, in the wrong timing, in the wrong hands, with the wrong people, and not with being correct with yourself and being authentic and following your true energy, and not the weather, which can make you quite emotional and certain about your actions, so that you do press that button. Heretic investigator of endeavor. This guy will work for his dreams, for his ambitions, and he will work to go beyond the past for a better future, which depends on how we act in the now. Hence, that wasn't on the expense of so many lives, and at the expense of somebody else's culture and sovereignty of your land. Maybe these could have been real new territories, but it seems like we're chasing the past. Seems like here he's chasing some aggrandizement of himself, being the reborn Peter the Great, Peter the First. Well, you are you. Be authentic. See who you impact and whether this is the impact you want. Is this a person who really wants to leave people hungry and cold without resources? Or he doesn't care, just so that he gets his way, gets the power, not knowing when to stop, when enough is enough, not knowing when to will, when to bite through, from what pieces, instead of being grandomaniac, not knowing what to feel and what direction he should take. What is love at the end? What to think about, and what his opinions, insights, ideas, and conceptualizing should be, pretending to be certain, pretending to know the answer of everybody else's questions, thinking of things that don't matter, being under mental pressure and doubt and confusion. And specifically, we have here the universal underlying principles. So now that I went through this chart, I don't know if I'm on a different place energetically about this person. I do have some empathy. And when you say empathy, when I say empathy, and in general, when you say empathy, it is being in somebody else's shoes. It doesn't make me him. It doesn't make me take sides with him. It doesn't make me really understand this person, but really trying to get into their shoes to feel empathy. And as a 5-1 profile, maybe I do feel some empathy of what it is to follow your convictions and be rejected for them. Hence, being a left profile. It is being doing things, being inspired by others, and how you're going to influence others. And in his case, how is he going to impact others? Does it have to be something positive? Does it have to be something negative? I don't know. History will judge. And we have a lot of witnesses right now. For you and me and the normal reader, it might be wrong, or listener in this case. I'm talking, not writing, but it is, and it's there, and it's happening. And we as normal people maybe are not able to do much except for communicate about it. And yeah, my way is to actually be out there and show, okay, these are the energy potentials of this person. And looking at this chart, I'm a little worried. Even before looking at this chart, I was, and that's normal because we have a manifestor energy here. Manifestors always make people a little bit nervous because you never know what to expect from them. They're difficult to stop. And you can see that, which is the whole world is against you, and you don't give up. You started something, you don't know how to finish it. You don't know when to stop. And I did read some articles about his behavior, and of course he's being watched very closely. I really hope that all this openness and his childhood was tough, as well as his upbringing and later being part of the KGB and other issues which he had could have brought to him quite some emotional traumas and even sexual traumas and energy traumas, and somebody with a strong will, not knowing whether he's worth it, trying to prove to the whole world that he's worth it, that he knows and he's certain who he is, identifying with the great Russia from the old times. This is more the possibility, not knowing what to think and what to be inspired about, than some past grandeur, aggrandizement, which makes you just feel inflated with your inflated ego. I don't know what will happen. And frankly, probably nobody knows. What we know is that we have our own lives to live, and we have our everyday challenges. So it makes no sense to look at somebody's chart, get paranoid about it, insecure about it, because the body graph is not the territory. What I pictured here is a tribal individual person who does best what he thinks for his tribe and for his own ambitions and his own thrive and his own material success, with penetrating awareness in the now. He's doing that. So good for him, and bad for everybody who is on his way. And those are a lot of people, including us. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm in no position to do it. Who am I? But I do live in this reality, and it's in my hands to inform you all. If you're on my fractal, if you're on my channel, and if you're listening to this video, congratulations. This is the end of that video. And maybe you resonate to me and to what I said. It's difficult times, crazy times, but we have our internal guidance mechanism in our body, in our G center, no matter whether it's defined or open or undefined. So our human design is a new type of a navigation system, strategy and authority, my friends, my fellow travelers on planet Earth and beyond. This is the way to navigate through any situation in the best possible way for us, so that we can get satisfaction, success, freedom, and surprise. That's all needed for us to survive in the material plane. Let's see what the future has for us. It's certainly something unexpected. I wake up every day waiting to see the beauty of this life unfold in front of me, and it's beauty and ugliness at the same time. What to do? That's life. We can only be aware and awake for what it is, to watch the movie, be on the back seat, sip that champagne, and enjoy the ride. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey. I'll be glad to talk to you again, and I would love to hear you comment. In the comments below, click that button, like my video, and subscribe to my channel to hear more. Bye for now.